This little tool is the EDC Pocket Pry Bar by Blue Collar Blades. I have to say, this is the first time I've ever carried any kind of pocket minimalist multi-tool before. Usually if I'm carrying something lightweight like this, it would be something like the Cadet or even this small little Victorinox Rambler. I've had this for over 5 months and I made sure to carry this over these two just to have the experience of carrying something with a limited amount of tools and no blade. I would say it was definitely fun, and to my surprise, I've actually used this and needed the pry bar section of it a lot more often than I thought. And this tool is especially king when it comes to traveling. But before we get into comparing and what I like and don't like about it, let's dive into the specs just real quick. Like I said, it's made by Blue Collar Blades. There's the stamp right there. Nate's doing great work out there, especially with his kitchen knives. So with this little tool right here, it's made out of, I think, 304 stainless steel. I'm not too familiar with the steel. I have to say the steel's pretty good. No rust spots anywhere. It's strong, it's durable, it's not gonna bend. Now, I did kind of roll the edge right there. I don't know if you could tell right over there. I probably was prying something pretty stupid that probably should not have been pried with such a small tool. But besides that, pretty satisfied with the steel. And in terms of the tools, now I think it's only marketed as having 3 tools, but with anything like this, we could for sure stretch that, and I could probably find like 8 ways or be like, oh, there's 8 tools on here. But if we just stick to what it's saying, we have a pry bar, a Phillips bit, a 1/4-inch hex, which you could kind of consider that a tool, but that's mainly just to fit the bit in there. And then the pry bar portion also acts as a flathead. And what's really awesome is that this only costs $25 and all made in the USA. Now, when it comes to comparing this with other multi-tools, I'm not going to compare this to a Leatherman. It's in a different class, and I can even see the argument how these are in a different class, and I would actually agree with that. It's just, I don't think it's a fair comparison. These multi-tools are just, I think they're marketed differently. They're marketed as a Swiss Army knife. I think every single model has a blade besides the TSA friendly one, but that's kind of the whole thing with, Victorinox is you have that classic spear point blade, and then you're always going to get some kind of bottle opener with a flat head and something that can be used for Phillips, and that's a can opener. Even the smaller one, it has scissors. And of course your typical tweezers, toothpick, ball opener. They just try to pack in so much in these tiny little tools, and that's awesome, and I love them. But when we're talking about this pry bar, I think like I said, it's in a different world. For me, this wasn't replacing these. It was filling in a gap in my EDC system, and that's mainly to do with traveling. When I'm traveling, I like to have some kind of tool with me. And the sad truth is, if I try to take this with me on the plane, that's a no-go. And the amount of tools that the TSA has taken from me is probably like 3, but I wish it was 0. Yes, I can check this under the plane, and that solves that issue. But sometimes I'm not putting anything under the plane. Sometimes it's just carry-ons, and I just want to be lightweight, get in and out. And the whole pocket pry bar thing isn't new. It's kind of been the trend for the past, 3+ years. And I've never gotten behind it. It seemed interesting. You would see actual mini pry bars with a pocket clip on them, and that's all it was. It was just a pry bar. And I'm going to admit it, if it's something that I can pry with my knife that I know it's not going to chip it, more often than not, I'm gonna do it. But when I'm going somewhere where I can't actually carry a knife, or you're just on a quick trip and you just want to take a carry-on on the plane, this thing is amazing to have. I know that kind of was a rant on how I can't compare it, but if you really want to know just the size difference, it's about the same size as a Cadet, a little bit bigger than the Rambler, and it's obviously going to be thinner than both of these. And in terms of price, like I said, this goes for around $25. A Cadet is around $40, and I think this is also around maybe $25, $30. So it's going to be cheaper, and I actually appreciate that because there's some out there not spending $200 on a single mini pry. It's just, I'd rather get this, just an actual pry bar that's also like $30. I'm not spending $200. Yes, I can't carry this in my pocket, but I can probably make 50 mini pry bars out of this. Now, talking about the tools, we talked about the pry bar a lot, but if we work our way down, we have the hex bit, and this is my favorite part. This is definitely what sold it for me. I just love that they utilize this empty space to store a bit, and it's held together by these two O-rings. These O-rings are super cheap and they're strong, and if they do break, you can buy like 100 and replace them. I'm actually fixing on getting yellow ones so it kind of matches the yellow in the bit. So you can customize it whatever you want. You can get blue, red, all white, stick with the black. It doesn't matter. The customization is there. And the fact that if this breaks, as a customer, I don't have to send this whole tool back for the retention portion to be replaced. I can just replace it myself. If one of these tools broke on this little Rambler, I would have to send this back or just buy an entire new tool. But with this, you could buy tons of O-rings. Again, the customization is there. So really like that. Just a little cutout and tool. You could put whatever bit you want in there. Then it just perfectly fits in this hex hole. And you can use it as so. This is where the fun stops. This little screw needs to be tightened. Okay, so you're gonna take your Phillips bit, you're gonna put it into the hex hole. Great. You're gonna line it up, and you're gonna begin to tighten it. My hand's out of the way. Begin rotating, and it's gonna tighten. Things are great. Now the only problem here, it may not happen right now, is that I'm putting pressure on that bit, so nothing's happening. But if I just kind of release the pressure, it just immediately falls down. It slips through the hole, and now I've lost the connection with the bit in the hex hole. So now I'm going to try to slowly bring it up, and now it's off. I got to reset, put it back, come back in here, and let's try that again. Okay, so I'm putting a lot of pressure. It's fine. I release the pressure, falls through. And it's just this constant battle. If you're trying to screw something, it's just, let's try to tighten it too. If you're just trying to tighten something, or let's try to loosen it, it's fine if you're keeping constant pressure, but the moment you release, it just drops straight through. You have to reset. Sometimes the bit falls out because, it's just a hole. So it can just get very frustrating trying to tighten or loosen something, and absolutely forget about it if you're upside down trying to tighten something. It's just not going to happen, because if your finger is not directly under that bit, it's just going to fall straight through. And to add this now I know you could take off the lanyard. I just kept it because actually when this tool's in your pocket, it's nice to hold on to this lanyard and pull it out instead of digging in your pocket. But it can also really just kind of get in the way. It's just kind of there and in the wrong place. See right there, I did actually release pressure, and it's actually perfect. But if we kind of maybe tap it, slowly go down. So sometimes it's great. Majority of the time it's not. And that's really the thing I don't like about it, is just that this bit falls through, and it just makes it really frustrating to tighten or loosen really anything. And it's different from these kind of multi-tools. Let's see where the Phillips. This is the Phillips head. This is again the Victorinox Rambler. It's just these are more traditional. You're going to come up top usually, and you're going to screw it. Now you could argue that if I slant this 90 degrees, I could probably use it in the same way, but the tool is just going to kick in on you. I could probably try. No, it's just too much. It's just going to kick in on you. So again, that's a plus, is that it operates this way. It's just a real drawback that there's no retention in this hole. Now I don't know how there would be a retention, maybe if it was possible to like insert a tiny detent in there that would match with a custom bit. I know that may kind of defeat the purpose of, you know, you could put any bit in there, but that could be something, or somehow making it magnetic so it just stays in there, because just the amount of times that I'm trying to screw something and this just slips in or the whole thing falls out, it almost makes me not want to use it. But again, I really do enjoy how it operates. So those two issues are also somewhat necessary, right? I kind of need that lanyard. It's very useful for when I'm trying to find it in my pocket. I wouldn't want this to operate any other way. So, you know, it's just pros and cons. But overall, absolutely love the tool. Now, maybe, I know it's late to the game, but maybe I'm on this little pocket pry bar trend. I doubt it, because if this only had a pry bar, I don't think I would have gotten it. I think it's because of this little Phillips bit, and because it also doesn't look like a mini pry bar, right? It doesn't look like a mini version of this. It's a sleek, really unique design, especially with the Phillips bit, and that you can put really whatever you want in there. You can even put a tiny, I mean, you can even make this a little bushcraft tool, put a tiny ferro rod in there, and again, sharpen the spine here, and you have an awesome bushcraft tool. I mean, heck, if this was made out of some kind of carbon steel, this would be fantastic to use flint and steel fires. But the point is, like I said, it's a unique, simple design, and especially at the price point, you just can't beat it. I've really enjoyed carrying it. I can't recommend it enough, especially for travel. It's the king when it comes to travel multi-tools, in my opinion. But overall, I definitely recommend it. I hope you guys enjoyed this overview on the Blue Collar Blades Pocket Pry Bar. Video suggestions, or want to see something specifically reviewed, leave a comment below. Give this video a big thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button. And until next time, stay safe out there.